Live are pissed at Panetta. Ask me anything. Sean Doherty is running for Congress. And he is running as a Democrat. It is a progressive race against a corporate Democrat race, basically. So, Sean, do you want to give us a quick hello and anything you want to say about the campaign?
Hi, thanks for that intro. I just want to point out real quick, Ashley, that there's a lot of static coming out of your audio right now. Maybe Carrie you could, I don't know if he's hearing that from me, but yeah, thank you so much. This is, I don't know, to me, this is a really interesting moment. I hate to use a word like a bland word like interesting, but so I just want to talk about real quick. Breaking news in the campaign, which is that a big PAC, a big super PAC, has started spending money to boost Jimmy Panetta in social media. Okay, thank you. So somebody already asked about it. So the person asking this must be a volunteer in the campaign, because we've been talking about this. As of this morning, we found out that a PAC named Think Big PAC is spending money on Meta ads for Jimmy Panetta, Meta being like Facebook and Instagram. And we looked into it, and we learned several interesting things. We found out several things. One, the Think Big Super PAC is being funded by another PAC. Sorry, I don't have this at the tip of my fingers yet because we're just learning this right now. It's funded by Leading the Future. And Leading the Future is a PAC that's being financed by 4 individuals. One is Greg Brockman, who's the president of OpenAI. The second is Anna Brockman, that's his wife. Benjamin Horowitz, a Silicon Valley venture capitalist. And Mark Anderson, also a Silicon Valley venture capitalist and co-founder of Netscape. And they have put $72 million into this stupid Leading the Future PAC. And that Leading the Future PAC then is feeding money into 2 other PACs. One is the Think Big PAC. And Think Big PAC is for funding Democrats. And then there's another one, I can't remember its name, but there's another one that's for funding Republicans. So that way, when voters find out that Jimmy's getting this boost from Think Big, they won't get confused by saying, oh, it's also helping Republicans. Wait a minute, do they not stand for the values of the Democratic Party? But it's really just, it's that parent PAC, sorry, I shouldn't say parent PAC, that's confusing. It's the Leading the Future, such a stupid name. The Leading the Future PAC, that's really our enemy. They're trying to buy this election. And $72 million, I remember when last election cycle, we were freaked out about $100 million being spent by APAC, right? That we were like, wow, $100 million going into the election, they're going to sway the whole thing. Well, just this one OpenAI-backed PAC is dumping in a comparable figure, and who knows how much more is going to come. So we looked into the ads that they're putting on Meta. Sorry, I'm going to talk about this at length. I apologize, but this is really significant. This is a really important development in the campaign, and I need people to understand the significance of this. We found that Think Big PAC is only spending ads on 2 congressional candidates in the whole country. One is Rob Menendez in New Jersey, and the other is Jimmy Panetta right here in this district. We can only guess why it is that they think these 2 races are worth putting their money into. And I'll go ahead and speculate why they see this race as significant. One, I have almost 30 years of experience in big tech as a software engineer. And that included several years of doing artificial intelligence research. I have written from scratch code that runs neural networks on supercomputers and GPUs. Like, you can go online and you can find the code I've written for doing that, and it's open source. I am very unusual as a person running for Congress that I have actually done legit AI research. And So one, I am uniquely qualified to talk about AI at a technical level, but two, I am against AI taking our jobs. I am against building these data centers. So I can speak incredibly about AI, and I can say AI needs to be heavily regulated. So I think that's probably or possibly the reason why we're one of the two races that this OpenAI super PAC is spending money on. It's funny. I like we just learned this morning, so we're still processing it. But I was just thinking about we did an appearance on a local TV station that was talking about I was talking about the race, why I was running, and I believe it got on air that when I was at my job, I was the only person on my team that refused to use AI to do my coding job. And I said to my coworkers, like, I'm not going to train my replacement. I won't use AI to do my job, to do my coding job, unless someone like shows me in writing how my job is going to be protected. And that was my last annual performance review at Apple, was them saying that I needed to start using AI. And I quit shortly thereafter. So that's my best guess as to why our campaign is being targeted right now. And maybe it's something else, but when we first saw this ad coming out, and when I found out that it was an OpenAI PAC, I just assumed that they were paying for ads for in like basically every race, just like flirting with a candidate, saying, "Hey, here I am, I can help you." But that's not the case. They're targeting two races. Programming is an experience use some clothes. So, well, that's an interesting perspective. Let me tell you, I disagree. I think that especially because I have programming experience within AI, my experience is extremely relevant for writing legislation right now, because we need a strong push for legislation that's not only regulating AI, as I said, to protect our jobs, our environment, and our rights. Because this AI can be easily abused. It is so easy to imagine how this AI will be used to destroy our right to privacy. Not only do we need to heavily regulate AI to protect those three things I just listed, we also have to break up these monopolies in the tech sector. We cannot allow companies like Facebook, or Meta, I should say, to exist. It has too much power. It has too much influence. So my programming experience is extremely relevant to the Congress right now, because AI is like on the front page every day, right? And look at all these communities organizing against it, trying to keep these data centers out. So I disagree. Programming experience is extremely relevant for going into Congress in 2026. Okay. Oh, wow. What does Israel have to do with? Usually I see questions before we stream, so I have a little bit of prep. These are there are several here that I haven't seen yet. Okay, what does Israel have to do with Santa Cruz? Oh my goodness. Well, for starters, we're spending a lot of money. We're spending a lot of money on wars in the Middle East, and I think it's very credible to assert that those wars are being driven largely by Israel. Even the Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, said as much in public. He said that the reason why we attacked Iran was that we were afraid that Israel was going to attack Iran first, and then consequently Iran was going to attack our bases in the Gulf states. So now we're in this Iran war. And now that we're in this Iran war, your gas prices are going up to who knows where. Who knows? Maybe we're going to see $10 a gallon gas here in Santa Cruz in a couple months. And that's because of Israel. And when gas prices go up, especially when diesel prices go up, which they are currently going up, that drives up the cost of everything that's transported via diesel, which is basically everything that you buy at the store. So Israel is extremely relevant to Santa Cruz. But not only is it impacting us financially, like, come on, have you not seen the images coming out of Gaza? Have you not seen what we're doing to children? You are okay with your taxpayer money is going to do that. Are you okay with that? Are you okay with your money being used to commit a genocide, a Holocaust? I'm not, and I think the overwhelming majority of the people living here are not okay with that. And frankly, I think that's why we're getting support like we are in this campaign. And I think that that's why Jimmy Panetta is scared of us. And I think that's why we just saw Jimmy Panetta sending out campaign texts a couple days ago, which is, I have yet to meet someone who was aware of him having done that before. We've got him scared, and it's primarily because of Gaza. So a lot of us care. Sorry. Okay.
But I'm staying quiet because I know it's staticky, so
Okay.
do go on.
Okay, what do you think about the attempted closure of the Black Infant Health Program? So first, let me acknowledge that this is not something that I know a great deal about, but I'm going to speak to it as best as I can. As I understand it, the controversy here is whether it's constitutional to have a program like this. This is a California program that is specifically helping the Black community. And there are people who are saying that is unconstitutional. Everything needs to be race neutral. And I guess my position on this is Black people have been historically treated very differently by our government. I don't think anyone denies that. And they are currently treated differently by, if you don't want to say, let's just say by society. Like, there is such a thing as systemic racism. And if our laws cannot deal with that reality, then we have to, maybe we have to amend our Constitution. And now, normally I am all for following the Constitution. I think it's really important. But sometimes the Constitution is broken. Sometimes the Constitution is not meeting the moment. And I think the perfect example of that is the Constitution is currently blocking us from keeping OpenAI from dumping a bunch of money into this race to boost Jimmy Panetta and knock me out of here, right? Like, the Constitution needs to be amended to overturn Citizens United. Sometimes the Constitution is wrong. Sometimes the Constitution is broken. This is not a holy scripture passed down to us from God. The Constitution is a flawed document written by man. And it's got it wrong on campaign finance, and it's got it wrong in this case too. Okay, black people, like, study after study has shown that Black women are treated differently by doctors, and they are not taken seriously by their doctors when they report pain, for example. So sorry. Okay, you know what? I'm kind of riled up. I'm getting too angry. Okay, let me. Sean Torty for Congress for the win. All right. Oh, thanks, Gabe. Is he watching right now? Okay. Yeah. What was that anger management movie with Adam Sandler? Grußfaber. Okay. What would it mean to abolish ICE? What would it mean? Okay. First I'll give my emotional answer. What it would mean to abolish ICE is that we wouldn't have this paramilitary Gestapo force terrorizing our cities. And it is lawless. So, sorry, I'm going to digress a little bit. Related, Ashley and I were just down in SLO County this past weekend, and we visited several locations, one of which was the SLO County Jail. And some activists there gave us a tour of the jail. Well, as much as they could. They basically showed us the lobby. But they explained to us what ICE is doing in cooperation with the sheriff there. And they're basically working around the laws to allow the sheriff to pass off people into the custody of ICE in complete violation of the law. ICE is a lawless organization. And so what would it mean? It would mean we're not putting families into prisons, because that's what I'm seeing. I think that's what we're all seeing, and that's why abolish ICE. I'm getting a little frustrated that people are acting as if a call to abolish ICE is like a fringe position. It's not. It's actually the majority, at least the plurality position. I mean, it was abolishing ICE than not. And actually, it's pretty funny. Actually, I just looked at our, I think I texted you this like 2 days ago. I was looking at our campaign website, and you had posted a video at the very top of it that was me a year ago launching our campaign. And I said, abolish ICE. I was just like unapologetically about. So I was like, so I admit I was saying abolish ICE. I think before it was the majority position, but now it's the majority position. So that's not what I'm being asked here. I apologize, y'all. I'm really worked up today. This open AI trying to put their thumb on the scale in this race has really got me angry. So let me try to be calm and talk about abolish ICE. So yeah, we'd not be putting families in prisons. We would use more humane approaches to dealing with what is, I think, a real issue. There is a mass migration issue. But first we have to ask, why is there mass migration? Mass migration is not good for the people that are doing it. It's not, it's very disruptive to the society where the people are coming to. But these are people who are, these are refugees. A lot of these are refugees, not all, but a lot of them are refugees. And it's because we're destabilizing Central and South America. So we need to stop meddling in these other countries. And by the way, we're wasting a lot of money doing that. Like, why do we have to be spending all this money, like with what we did in Venezuela? I don't know how many billions of dollars we spent, but having an aircraft carrier parked off of the coast of Venezuela probably alone has cost us like $3-5 billion, something like that. So why are we wasting all this money meddling in all these countries? Well, it's so we can control their governments, control their industries, so that the elites in this country make profits. We, the American citizens, don't benefit from that. It's just the Epstein class, right? They're the ones who are making money off of this. So we stopped doing that. And as far as I'm still not answering the question. What would it mean to abolish ICE?
Well, I mean, you bring it up. Is it really staticky?
No, you're okay.
Okay. You bring it up, or you've brought it up before, where you were talking about what it looked like before ICE.
Right. Like, so what I want to do is reform our visa system, our work visa system, so that more people are able to obtain visas and work above board. And that's going to benefit all of us. It's going to benefit the employers, it's going to benefit the employees, and it's going to benefit everybody else in America. So because but I'm mostly concerned about the workers, both the migrant workers and those of us who are citizens. If the migrant workers are using visas and working above board, that means that they're going to have labor protections. They're going to have safe working conditions. They're going to be paid at least a minimum wage. So that's good for them. But it's also good for the rest of us, because that means that will lift up wages. You won't have that extreme downward pressure on wages, having this underclass of workers who are being paid below the minimum wage.
Yeah, the exploitation is
exactly right. So there would still maybe be some deportation. Like let's say if someone is a violent criminal and they're in jail, maybe then you would have deportation. But the agency responsible for that would not be ICE. It would be a new agency set up outside of the Department of Homeland Security. I think it's really dangerous to have ICE under the Department of Homeland Security, because it's making it military in nature.
One thing we learned too is at that ICE facility, they were picking up people that have had a couple glasses of, like had a couple drinks, like it was like a DUI or,
Right.
they could be walking, they could be in a parked car, whatever.
Right.
And then they just lock them up and then
Yeah.
they notify ICE. And then when they get released, they get alerted, ICE gets alerted or whatever. So that's why they have that whole team there. But she was just like, this is also really expensive for our society. Like, we don't need to be picking people up for, like she was saying, we're in a vineyard, vineyard territory. Everybody's driving around with like a glass of wine in them, and it's only certain people that are getting
Right.
picked up, and they're not violent, and then they get released. And it was even, like they didn't even have to go, they weren't a criminal, so they weren't charged or anything like that. So it's just absolutely out of control.
Well, yeah, a lot of racial profile. Going along with what you were saying, she told us there's a lot of racial profiling going on. So yeah, the white people going to wine tastings are not getting arrested, but you get the example of a Latino man who was living out of his car, a car that wasn't capable of moving. So it was his home, basically, and he was drinking a beer in that car, and he got arrested for. Was it a DUI? I think it doesn't matter. It was a bullshit charge, right? And it was because he was Latino.
Yeah, and that video I think we have going out tomorrow. We do have a good video recap and tour.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so they did a really good job. I mean, they do an amazing job of just being there. Like, it sounds like almost every day, having somebody on the back end to help make sure that everybody has the information or however they're coordinating it, and then having somebody on site. It's a lot of effort in the community going into protecting the community. So, all right, here's one.
Should we switch to regenerative farming? Yes. Yes, we should. And gosh, I mean, what better moment to illustrate that than the current one with the conventional farming so dependent on these fertilizers that are derived from petroleum. I mean, there's going to be famine globally, very likely, because of all this, the inputs for these fertilizers that we use not making it to the Hormuz Strait. So because of the war with Iran, a lot of the world isn't getting fertilizer, and we have a shortage of fertilizer here in America, which is going to drive up food prices very soon in a major way. But yeah, absolutely, it's always time to switch to regenerative farming, but especially now we can see why we need to. I mean, there's so many harms done from those fertilizers, but I think now in this moment we can see how it's important just for us to have a stable economy, that we shouldn't be so dependent on these petroleum products. We need to switch away from oil for our transportation. We need to switch away from petroleum-based fertilizers for our farming practices.
And for anybody who doesn't know, what's the difference between regenerative, the words in front of us, and
regenerative?
sustainable?
I am not an expert on this. Okay, so I don't want to try to pretend that I am. But with conventional, you're dumping you're putting a lot of these chemical synthetic fertilizers into the soil to provide the nutrients necessary to grow the crops. And there's a lot of nasty stuff draining off into the bay, for example, as a consequence. But then with regenerative, it's more like instead of raising a single crop and then with conventional farming, you'll have like a single crop, a single kind of crop that you grow season after season. And you just you grow it and then you dump chemicals in, and then you grow it and then you dump chemicals in. But with regenerative, you grow different crops and you rotate, and maybe you'll have animals living on one part of the field for one season. So you're each crop will replenish different nutrients into the soil. So it's a natural way of providing the nutrients necessary to have rich soil that can grow your crops. That's the way it should be. It's the way things used to be.
What is the role of a progressive in the House, whether in the majority or the minority? Is voting for impeachment now pointless? Oh, that's a good question.
Those are two questions.
Yeah, I like the second one too. But yeah, the first one, what is the role of a progressive in the House?
What is the role of a progressive in the House? Wow, that's a really big question. How about I am a progressive? How about I can talk about what I would be pushing for in the House? It's all on my shirt. The policies I'll be pushing for. Medicare for all. Medicare for all is the first one that comes to mind. I'll talk about that because I think that's a strong progressive position. And there have been progressives in the House for a long time, and we still don't have Medicare for all. So I'll see my role as a progressive in the House as pushing for progressive policies using procedural techniques that I think could actually succeed. Like I don't want to just go there and virtue signal and have all my constituents happy. Sean said the thing we wanted to hear. You know, I'm interested in actually getting something done. And I really like the approach that Ro Khanna is taking with his state-based single-payer healthcare act, where each state could get the funds it's currently getting towards like Medicare, Medicaid, and Affordable Care Act subsidies, but it could apply it towards its own healthcare system. So that way, we in a blue state like California, we could have our single payer system, Medicare for all or CalCare for all. And then a red state, they could do whatever nightmare thing they want to do. But as a progressive, I see my role as getting policies passed so that people in California can have the progressive policies that they want. So that's what I would be trying to do. Maybe I didn't explain that perfectly, but hopefully I got the point across. Well, let me just say one more thing. The reason why I'm excited about Ro Khanna's approach on healthcare is that I think that we could get Republicans on board. Like we could agree to disagree. Like Republicans do not want single payer. Fine. You don't have to have single payer in Alabama. But let's come up with a system where you don't have to have single payer in Alabama, and we'll have single payer in California. And then in 10 years, they'll see how much better it is here, and they'll say, "Okay, we'll have two." That's my dream.
Also the point of not being bought. You know, just as a progressive, like you'll be a real progressive. There's no Pfizer backing behind you, for example. So I just want to throw that out there. And then, so the second question is voting for impeachment now pointless?
No, it's not pointless. It's not pointless. You know, impeachment doesn't do much if he's not ultimately removed. But we have to try. First of all, it is absolutely critical that we try. We can't just say, what's it really going to do? I guess we'll just let him keep doing what he's doing. There have to be consequences for waging an illegal war. We didn't do it for George W. Bush. We should have prosecuted him. He should have been impeached, and then after that, there should have been prosecutions by the Obama administration. It's really important that we have consequences for these gross illegal acts. So, but I'm not like super enthusiastic about the idea of an impeachment that goes nowhere. I think that we can do even better than that. You know, Nixon was impeached and then he resigned because he knew that he was going to be removed. The Senate was going to vote to remove him. And even though we're not there quite yet in terms of the lack of support for Trump by the Republican Party, that is the direction we're heading. Trump is at the lowest approval rating ever between either term. And there's no reason to believe that it's going to get better because this standoff in Iran is going to keep going as far as we can tell, and it's going to drive up inflation even more. Gas prices are going to keep going higher and higher and higher, and food prices are going to get even higher and higher and higher once we start feeling the impact of the fertilizers not being available at the amounts that we need. And Trump's popularity is going to keep sinking, and it's going to get to the point where even the Republican Congress will turn on him. I think. I mean, who knows? I can never predict what MAGA is going to do.
Okay, this is actually the last one, unless there's anybody in the chat that pops up. And what's the plan for the victory? I like the framing of this one, the victory, and what percentage of the vote do we need this election? So what percentage of the vote?
Right. Well, the plan has been executing, and first of all, it's succeeding. Like I think I mentioned this earlier in the stream. Like Jimmy Panetta's sending out texts, and as far as we know, he's never done that before. We've got OpenAI weighing in and entering the race. Like what we've been doing is clearly working. We've got him worried, and we don't know this for a fact, but it's a good guess that they've got some internal polling. It's a good guess that the reason why they're starting to intervene in the race is that they know that Jimmy's in trouble. If a Republican gets second place in June and November is Jimmy versus a Republican, it's not a race. It's a deep blue. Panetta's going to win. There's not even a campaign. They're worried because they think I'm going to get second place. And they wouldn't just be spending this money and energy just because they're like, I don't like Sean. He says stuff I don't like. They wouldn't care. If I was just some idealistic progressives saying stuff they didn't like, they wouldn't care. It's because they have been looking at some numbers and they know that we're a threat. Now, so I don't know that I need to lay out what the plan is, but the plan has been that we would lean in on anti-corruption, by calling attention to Jimmy's AIPAC money in particular, and leaning in on progressive policies. And to me, it was really important to do that because one, I thought it was smart strategically because I think it's progressives that are the most frustrated with Jimmy. But more importantly, I think progressive policies, a number of progressive policies are really popular, even outside of the Democratic Party. I think they're popular with independents and they have plurality strong support with the Republicans even. So our approach has been to lean into policies that we believe in because we think a lot of other people believe in them too. And Jimmy's been falling very short on them. So that was it. And we also, we're phone banking, we're putting literature on doors, door hangers, we're in social media, and that's where you all come in. Like we need help with that. We need you in social media. We need you being, what do they call it? Reply guys. Actually, I'm not sure if I'm using that term right, but we need you all in the comments of Jimmy's posts. We need you telling your friends about us. So that at this point, like for a congressional primary, we're decently funded. Surprisingly enough, I shouldn't say. I know you hate
for grassroots for sure.
Yeah. We're actually not too bad, but we don't have the millions of a corporate candidate who can just flood the airwaves. So for us, the plan is grassroots, organic communication, talking about both Jimmy Panetta's corruption and our good policy positions. Okay, and the second part of that question, percent of the vote, what do we need? Probably 20 to 25%. It's hard to say. It depends on how split the Republican vote is, because there's two Republicans running, and they're both endorsed by two Republican county parties. So it's actually possible that they could both get a lot of a vote, and that would bring down the threshold that we have to surpass to get second place. So 2025, I think, is realistic.
This just came in. She says, once you start getting more donations and get a campaign office, would you consider making it a mutual aid hub like Kat did?
Yes.
Yeah, that's cool. That's a good
Yeah,
idea.
that'd be great. I think a lot of people would love it if we had a campaign office.
And also, the effect of the war on Iran on
Is that our
local-
Jessa?
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, Jessa.
Yeah. So that is great. I was gonna try and just share our last. Let's see if I have it here. Here we go. So we have a last push for, this is just like a quick graphic that I made for get out the vote. And it's going to be the final stretch. It is in all of the districts. I think we might be doing something else in SLO as well, but this is what we have for on the ground efforts in different areas, and people are organizing, and it's like that older movie that I kept watching, which was like The Candidate, and you just see everybody dropping lit in everybody's doors. And so we would love to have people join us more for that and sign up for that. So that's going to be linked in our socials and going out on the website. So just
and I want to mention the fact that I'm not going to SLO for that final push. I was planning to go, and we talked to several organizers down in SLO, and they said they thought it would be smarter for me to stay up in the northern 3 counties and be present there, because I'd be able to actually like interact with more people. It's more dense. So SLO, I was thinking of you, and your own people told me not to come down. So
yeah, I loved that they were like, no, don't. I mean, if people don't realize the length of this district, it's almost 4.5 hours to get end to end from the South San Jose to North SLO. So they're like, yeah, don't spend the 6 hours and all of this stuff like in the car. We want you to get the vote out. We will help you down here. So
yeah, I wanted to go.
Yeah. And it was a great trip. It was really the people that joined us for the event. And there's some endorsement videos that are coming out from it. They were just really grateful that a candidate came to visit and then also had this aligned positions away from the corporate Dems. So it has been great to tap into the
it was funny. We did earlier today, we did a Zoom forum with the North SLO Indivisible chapter, and there was a Q&A, and someone asked me like how I was going to deal with like opposition, or like, I thought that they were talking about Republicans, but it turned out they were talking about Democratic Party leadership. It's pretty funny.
I think, I mean, even going back to that question about, what do you do as a progressive? It's like, it's just this progressive is seen as this like apparently far left thing, and then you have the corporate Dems over here, which I did not realize was such a big thing in our country before this election. Really, I mean, I was rather new to that side of the situation. I mean, mostly because I was focused on all corporate free, all of the party with the Greens, but it was just like, oh wow, it's like two very divided like almost factions in the party. So
yeah, it's like two parties within a party.
Yeah, and it's growing. There's a lot of people out there that are really fighting for it. So glad that you are one of them, because Panetta is an out of control corporate Dem. And that's all the questions that we had. So I think we should get back to getting the vote out, and welcome anybody to contact us if you want to sign up, join. Like you said, phone banking, we have ramped up, and it has been very, very helpful for the campaign. That's how we found out about SLO.
Yeah.
And it's not glamorous, but it is really effective.
Yeah.
And then on the ground, and we have some events coming up as well in Santa Cruz, we have a house party this weekend, as
Oh
well
yeah.
as in Monterey as well. So we are out and about. So
I
hopefully,
think the house party on Saturday at 3 p.m. in Santa Cruz is going to be a banger, because that's the leader, the de facto leader of Santa Cruz for Bernie is hosting that one. So I think there's going to be a lot of people showing up. That'll
I
be a good
hope
one.
so. And I just saw we have our bridge banners out right now too. So if you
Oh,
guys,
is Ralph out there?
we are reaching as far as we can in all of the efforts as creative
Cool.
ways. So and it's working. So all right. I think next week will be our last one. I have to check our calendar, but
Our last one, but before the election day, but there'll be
yes,
many more to come.
yes.
I tell you what, Ashley, it's really feeling like we're gonna do this. We're gonna survive the primary. It's really looking good for us. That's why Jimmy's so nervous. And oh my God, is it gonna get crazy, y'all, after June 2nd? Get ready.
All right. Well, to everybody out there, have a good one, and we hope to see you around. Ask us any questions for the future.
Bye now.